In this lesson, we are going to explore using both outlines and flowcharts to map out how our code will have to flow or work. An outline is a plan for an approach to a project or problem. We usually think of outlines in connection with a term paper or as a summary of a document. It is also an excellent starting point for any coding project, including mine. A flowchart is a graphical representation of a process. You may use either an outline or a flowchart, or both. For example, you might start out with an outline and then use it to build a flowchart. Your boss may have a preference for one or the other for documenting your program, so it is important to know both. Let's see how outlines and flowcharts can help us with our coding project. Fred, the owner of the Pancake House, has hired me to program Fuber, a robot who will replace Sue, their retiring cook. So far in the project, I've drawn a simple activity flowchart. I've used it to start building the code for the prototype demonstration that my robot, Fubar, did for Fred. It was pretty stripped down with only 4 activities. Check the grill, pour the pancake batter, flip the pancakes, plate the pancakes. Since my goal was just to demonstrate that it was possible for my robot Fubar to cook pancakes, I didn't worry about making any of the different flavors of pancakes on the menu or cooking eggs or bacon. And after a glitch or two, we succeeded and Fred was encouraged. But there was still a lot of work to be done to get Fuber up to Fred's expectations of a competent grillbot. I had more research to do so I could start to get more detailed about what I needed to code. I went back to the Pancake House and spent more time with Sue, the soon-to-retire cook. I needed to have a better and more specific understanding of how she managed all the dishes in one order and how she managed multiple orders. I wound up with some serious activity model flowcharts and was confident that I could work from them to create the ideal, competent grillbot. I started with an outline. An outline is a plan or approach to a problem or project. We usually think of an outline as the starting point for a term paper or a book. Let's see how I migrated from the new activity flowcharts I drew after I spent more time with Sue to an outline of the project. The next logical question for the project seems to be, can Fuber make a complete order for one customer? This is more complicated than just frying up some pancakes, but it's still way less complicated than making a complete order for a table of 4. And that, in turn, is way less complicated than managing all the orders for all the customers in the Pancake House. You can see that this activity model is still pretty simple. We don't do any looping until we get down to actually cooking something. And for right now, I'm pretending that we never suddenly run out of eggs or bacon. That part, known as error handling, comes later. So, Sue gets the order for one menu item. She reads it, then goes and gets everything she needs to make it, including any extras for the pancakes like fruit or whipped cream. Next, she prioritizes the items that she has to make. Even though some things take longer to cook than others, everything has to be ready to plate at the same time. So when someone orders the lumberjack's appetizer, pancakes, eggs, sausage, bacon, or ham, and hash browns, the hash browns have to be started first because they take the longest. Sue has to figure out the sequence to cook the items in so they come out at the same time. So just like Sue, when Fuber has started the last item, he should go back to the first one and check it to see if it needs to be turned or flipped, or if it's done. If it needs flipping, flip it, and then move to the next item. If not, just move to the next item. If it's done, take it off and plate it. Assuming that all the items were prioritized and started correctly, they should all come off the grill and onto the plate in rapid sequence. Once they are on the plate, Sue garnishes the plate, puts it up, and calls the server. Let's translate this into an outline. One way to start is to make a list of each activity in the flowchart. Get the order, read the order, get ingredients for pancakes, get side items for the order, prioritize the items on the order, what takes the longest, start first, mix pancake batter with extras, start each item in order of priority, check each item, flip or turn as needed, keep checking until all items are done, plate items, garnish items, set the order up, call the server. Once we have that, we can start adding detail. There is a bit more of activity that has to happen between read the order and getting the ingredients for the pancakes and sides. Read the order, check the menu, get the recipes, create a list of ingredients for the order, check that ingredients are available, if running low, have prepper set up more, get ingredients for pancakes, get side items for order. And that's the new stuff. You keep expanding the outline until it covers everything that needs to be coded. Every programmer has his or her own approach. Some like to use the outline format. Some prefer to work with flowcharts instead. Some like to do an outline and use it as the start of a flowchart. You may find that your employer has a preference, so it's important to understand both tools. Let's take a look at what the flowchart could look like for the section we just outlined. We start and go get the order. We then check it against the menu to make sure that it is something on the menu. If it isn't on the menu, Sue might be able to improvise, but not Fuber, so he will have to get the server back. Next, we pull the recipe for each item so we can make a list of the ingredients we need and also determine the cooking times for each item so we can prioritize their start order. Once we've made out the ingredients list, we go get them. When we do, we also check to see if anything is running low. If it is, we get the prepper to set up some more. We collect the ingredients and are done with this little part of the process. The programming process is a conversation with your customer. It may be short or it may be ongoing. In my case, I want to go back and check with Fred and Sue to make sure that I'm still on the right track. I will walk them through the process as I understand it, step by step, using my flowchart. Again, they can tell me where I've missed things, ask questions, or make suggestions. And I can offer suggestions too. If there's something that I can suggest that might make the business better, they might be interested. Programmers can use outlines or flowcharts to map out how their program is going to flow. An outline is a plan for an approach to a project or problem. A flowchart is a graphical representation of a process. It can be used instead of an outline or based on an outline that has been created first. Once we have our program flow pretty well documented, we can start creating something that looks like code to help us think about how to actually write our program. But before we can do that, we need to understand the 5 things that you need to be able to code so your program can actually do something. We'll do this in the next lesson.